Captain Hana stared at the screen in her command chair. The numbers made no sense. 7 Federation worlds had gone silent in the past month. Not just quiet, completely dark. No communication signals, no trade ships, nothing. Captain, her communications officer called out. We're getting another distress signal from SciFiPrime. Hana closed her eyes. SciFiPrime was the home world of the Valari people, beautiful, peaceful beings who had never known war. Their cities were made of crystal that sang in the wind. Their people spoke in gentle tones and solved problems through patient discussion. Put it through, she said. Elder Mira's face appeared on the main screen. The Valari looked tired. Her usually bright blue skin had turned pale gray. Behind her, Hana could see smoke rising from damaged crystal spires. Federation vessel Peaceful Dawn, this is Elder Mira of SciFiPrime. We need immediate help. The Krolex ships are in orbit above our world. They are not responding to any of our peace offers. Hana felt her stomach drop. The Krolex Empire had appeared 3 months ago from the outer rim of the galaxy. At first, the Federation had welcomed them. The Federation always welcomed new species. They sent cultural exchange programs, offered trade agreements, shared their knowledge freely. The Krolex had responded by destroying the first 3 Federation ships that approached them. Elder Mira, we are still 2 days away from your system. Can you hold out until then? The Valari leader shook her head. Captain, you do not understand. They are not here to conquer us. They are here to kill us, all of us. They sent a message saying we are diseased parasites that must be cleansed from the galaxy. Hana had heard this before from other worlds. The Krolex did not want territory or resources. They wanted every non-Krolex species dead. It made no sense to the peaceful Federation. Why would anyone want to kill beings they had never met? We will do everything we can, Hana promised. The transmission ended. Hana looked around her bridge. Her crew was made up of different species from across the Federation. They all shared the same confused and frightened expressions. Captain, her science officer said, I have been studying the Krolex attack patterns. Their weapons are beyond anything in our databases. They do not use defensive shields or energy weapons like us. They use solid projectiles that move very fast and explosives that create massive damage. Hana nodded. The Federation had developed beyond the need for weapons centuries ago. Their ships had basic energy shields for asteroid protection, but nothing designed to stop an attack from another species. Why would they need such things when every known species was peaceful? Options? Hana asked. Her tactical officer, a gentle being called Zen, spoke up. We could try to negotiate again. Perhaps offer them some of our outer worlds if they spare the populated systems. They have rejected every negotiation attempt, Hana replied. What else? Silence filled the bridge. The Federation had no military. They had no weapons. They had no soldiers. For over 1,000 years, problems were solved through discussion, compromise, and understanding. Captain, the communications officer said quietly, there is one option that the Federation Council has been discussing. Hana turned to look at him. What option? The quarantined world, Earth. Every being on the bridge became very still. Earth was a forbidden topic in Federation space. 200 years ago, the Federation had made contact with the humans. It had been a disaster. The humans were violent, aggressive, and completely impossible to understand. They had weapons that could destroy planets. They thought about war the way normal species thought about breathing. The Federation had quickly placed Earth under quarantine. No contact was allowed. The humans were considered too dangerous to interact with the peaceful galaxy. That is forbidden, Hana said. Yes, Captain. But Elder Mira and the Federation Council are running out of choices. The Krolex have destroyed 12 worlds now. Our evacuation ships cannot move fast enough. Our diplomatic vessels are shot down before they can even transmit peace messages. Hana thought about this. The humans were dangerous, but they were dangerous to other species. The Federation needed something dangerous right now. 3 hours later, Hana received a priority transmission from the Federation Council. The vote had been close, but they had decided. For the first time in 2 centuries, they would break the quarantine and contact Earth. The message was simple. Federation worlds are dying. The Krolex Empire cannot be stopped. We need immediate help. These are the coordinates of the attacking forces. Please help us. The transmission was sent through the quantum communication network toward the Sol system, toward Earth, toward the humans. On Earth, Admiral Day was reviewing defense reports when the message arrived. He read it twice, then called his staff. Sir, his aide said, This appears to be genuine. The Federation is under attack by an unknown enemy. Admiral Day looked at the message again. The same Federation that had called humans too violent for civilized space was now asking for help. The irony was not lost on him. "Sir," his communications officer said, "should we respond?" Admiral Day thought about the hundreds of Federation species, peaceful beings who had never hurt anyone. Now they were facing an enemy that wanted them all dead. "Yes," he said, "we respond. But not how they expect." The Federation expected a diplomatic mission. They expected scientists and negotiators. They expected the humans to follow Federation protocols and work within Federation systems. They were about to learn why humans were quarantined in the first place. Admiral Day began issuing orders. The First Fleet would deploy immediately, full battle configuration. The Federation had asked for help and the humans would provide it, but they would do it the human way. As the massive human warships began moving toward Federation space, Admiral Day wondered if the peaceful species that had rejected humanity would be able to accept the kind of help that humans could provide. The Krolex Empire was about to discover why Earth was called a death world, and the Federation was about to learn why some problems could only be solved with violence. The message had been sent. The quarantine was broken. The Deathworlders were coming to war. The Federation fleet around Serenity Prime was not prepared for what came out of hyperspace. Captain Quan stood on the bridge of the battleship Iron Resolve as his ship and 12 others dropped back into normal space. Around them, the Federation vessels looked like toys. The human warships were massive, dark, and covered in weapon systems that the Federation had never seen before. "Sir," his weapons officer said, "I am detecting 17 Federation ships in the area. They appear to be evacuation vessels. Any sign of the hostile forces?" "Negative, sir. But I am reading massive energy signatures from the planet's surface. It looks like the enemy has withdrawn to the ground." Captain Quan opened a communication channel to the Federation ships. "This is Captain Quan of the Terran Defense Force ship Iron Resolve. We received your distress call."
"Where are the hostiles?"
The response came from a Federation cruiser called Gentle Wind. "Terran vessel, this is Captain Hana. We were not expecting warships. You called for help against an aggressive enemy force. What did you expect?" There was a long pause. "We expected a diplomatic mission. Scientists, perhaps. Cultural exchange specialists." Captain Quan looked at his tactical officer, Commander Sue, who shook her head in disbelief. "Captain Hana, you are under attack by a hostile force that wants to exterminate your species. What exactly did you think diplomats would accomplish?" "We thought perhaps you could negotiate with them, find a peaceful solution." Captain Quan had studied the Federation reports during the journey. The Krolex had destroyed 12 worlds and killed billions of beings. They had rejected every attempt at communication. They had stated clearly that they intended to kill every non-Krolex in the galaxy. "Captain Hana, have the Krolex responded to any of your negotiation attempts?" "No, but have they shown any interest in peaceful coexistence?" "No, but we believe that with the right approach..." "Captain," Commander Sue interrupted. "Incoming transmission from the planet's surface. It is from the Krolex forces." The transmission was brief and simple. "New vessels in orbit. You will leave or be destroyed. This world belongs to the Krolex Empire. All parasites will be cleansed." Captain Quan turned back to his communication with the Federation. "Captain Hana, I need you to move your ships to a safe distance. We are going to engage the hostile forces." "Engage? You mean fight them?" "Yes, that is what we do to enemies who threaten peaceful species. But violence should be a last resort. There must be another way." Captain Quan was beginning to understand why the Federation was losing this war. "Captain Hana, what would you consider a first resort?" "Discussion. Cultural exchange. Finding common ground. And when the enemy refuses all of those options and continues killing your people, then we try harder to find peaceful solutions." Commander Sue spoke quietly to Captain Quan. "Sir, I am reading massive life signs from the planet. It looks like the Krolex have gathered the surviving population in concentration areas." Captain Quan felt cold. He had read about concentration camps in human history. Nothing good ever happened in such places. "How many survivors?" "Approximately 2 million Valyri in 12 locations. But sir, I am also reading Krolex military installations around each location. It appears they are using the civilians as shields." Captain Quan made his decision. All ships prepare for orbital assault. Target the military installations but avoid civilian areas. Captain Kwan, came the voice from the Federation ship. You cannot attack the planet. There are innocent people down there. Captain Hana, that is exactly why we are attacking. Those innocent people are about to be murdered if we do nothing. But you might hurt some of them in the fighting. Some of them will die if we attack. All of them will die if we do not. The concept seemed to break the Federation captain's mind. There must be another way. Captain Kwan decided to try a different approach. Captain Hana, in the past month, how many Federation worlds have been saved through peaceful negotiation with the Kroleks? None, but how many Federation citizens have been killed while you searched for peaceful solutions? The silence lasted a long time. Billions. Captain, we are going to save the people on this planet. We are going to do it by killing the beings who want to murder them. If you cannot accept this, please move to a safe distance. The Federation ships moved away. Captain Kwan could imagine the conversations happening on their bridges. These were people who had lived their entire lives without violence. The idea of deliberately hurting another being was completely foreign to them. All ships begin the attack. The human warships opened fire on the Kroleks positions. The weapons were precise, designed to destroy military targets while minimizing damage to surrounding areas. But they were still weapons of war, and war was ugly. The Kroleks responded immediately. Their ships rose from the planet's surface and began attacking the human fleet. Their weapons were powerful but crude, massive projectiles designed to cause maximum destruction. Shields at 70%, reported the tactical officer. Return fire on the ascending ships. Do not let them escape. The battle lasted 3 hours. The Kroleks fought with desperate fury, but they had not expected to face an enemy that could fight back. Their weapons were designed to destroy defenseless Federation ships and civilian populations. Human weapons were designed to fight other humans. After 2 centuries of isolation, the Terran military had become extremely good at war. When the shooting stopped, the Kroleks forces on SciFiPrime were destroyed. The surviving Valari were free. Captain Kwan opened a channel to the Federation ships. Captain Hana, the hostile forces have been eliminated. You may return to evacuate your people. Captain Kwan, how many of your people died in the fighting? 43 crew members across the fleet. And how many of our people did you save? Approximately 1.8 million. There was another long pause. Captain Kwan, the Federation Council wishes to speak with you. The conversation with the Federation Council was even more difficult. Elder Mira and the other representatives could not understand how beings could be so good at violence yet use it to save lives. We need your help, Elder Mira finally admitted. But we do not understand your methods. Captain Kwan looked at the gentle beings on his screen. Elder Mira, you do not need to understand. You need to let us do what we do best. And what is that? We are very good at killing things that want to hurt innocent people. Admiral Day arrived at the Federation border with the full might of the Terran Navy. 50 warships, each one larger and more heavily armed than anything the peaceful galaxy had ever seen. The Federation representatives waited nervously aboard the diplomatic station called Harmonies. Rest. Elder Mira stood with Captain Hana and several other species leaders, all watching the massive human fleet through the observation windows. They are so big, whispered Ambassador Leah, a graceful Valari with silver skin who had been chosen to handle human relations, and so dark. Why are their ships painted black? Dr. Tay, a human scientist who had been living with the Federation for the past year as part of a secret exchange program, answered quietly. Black ships are harder to see in space during combat. Humans design everything for war, even when they hope never to use it. Admiral Day materialized on the station's transportation platform. He was tall, stern-faced, and wore a military uniform that was purely functional. No decorations, no bright colors, nothing that might make him a target in battle. Admiral, Elder Mira said, stepping forward. Welcome to Federation space. We are grateful that humanity has answered our call for help. Elder Mira, Admiral Day replied with a slight bow. We received your message. Show me the tactical situation. The Federation leaders exchanged glances. They had prepared cultural presentations, historical overviews, and philosophical discussions about the nature of peace. They had not prepared tactical briefings. Perhaps we should begin with introductions, Ambassador Leah suggested. We could share our hopes for peaceful cooperation. Ambassador, Admiral Day interrupted politely but firmly. How many of your people are dying while we have this conversation? The question hit like a physical blow. Elder Mira checked her communication device. The Krolex attacked 2 more systems yesterday. Estimate 40 million dead. Then we will skip the introductions. Show me where the enemy is and what forces they have. Captain Hana activated the tactical display. The holographic map showed Federation space with red markers indicating Krolex attacks. There were far too many red markers. Admiral Day studied the display for several minutes. Their pattern is systematic. They are not randomly attacking. They are working their way through your most populated worlds in order of strategic value. Strategic value? Elder Mira asked. We do not understand. They are targeting your industrial worlds first, then your agricultural systems, then your population centers. Classic extermination campaign. The Federation representatives looked sick. The idea that there could be a science to genocide was horrible to contemplate. How do we stop them? Captain Hana asked. We kill them. Admiral Day replied simply. But surely there must be another way. Ambassador Leah protested. Perhaps if we offered them empty systems to colonize. Ambassador, they do not want your territory. They want you dead. All of you. There is no negotiation with an enemy that views your existence as an insult to the universe. Dr. Tay stepped forward. Admiral, the Federation species have never experienced total war. The concept is difficult for them to accept. Admiral Day looked at the peaceful beings around him. Dr. Tay, please explain to them what total war means. Dr. Tay took a deep breath. Total war means that everything is a weapon. Every resource, every person, every decision is part of the war effort. It means that sometimes you must do terrible things to prevent even more terrible things from happening. But that sounds like we would become as bad as the Krolex, Elder Mira said. No, Admiral Day replied. The Krolex kill because they enjoy it. We kill because we have to. The difference matters. The first major battle came 3 days later at the system called Haven. The Krolex had occupied the planet and were systematically executing the population. Admiral Day decided to make this the place where humanity would show the galaxy what Deathworlders could do. General Nam coordinated the assault from the flagship Relentless. The attack began with long-range bombardment that destroyed the Krolex orbital defenses. Then came the atmospheric fighters, sleek ships that dove through the planet's atmosphere like birds of prey. Finally came the ground assault. Human Marines landed in armored transports and began fighting their way through Krolex defensive positions. The Federation representatives watched the battle through military feeds. They had never seen anything like it. The humans fought with a precision and brutality that was both terrifying and beautiful. How do they move so fast? Elder Mira asked, watching human soldiers advance under heavy fire. Humans evolved on a world where everything was trying to kill them, Dr. Tay explained. They are built for this. The battle for Haven lasted 18 hours. When it was over, the Krolex forces were completely destroyed. The surviving population was saved, but the cost was high. 2,000 human soldiers had died in the fighting. The Federation representatives were shocked that so many beings could die in a single battle. This is victory? Ambassador Leah asked, looking at the casualty reports. Captain Sue, who had led the ground assault, cleaned blood from her armor as she answered. This is victory. 2,000 of us died to save 8 million of them. That is a trade we will make every time. The Krolex learned quickly from their defeat at Haven. Their next attack came with new tactics and better weapons. War Master Vexen, their military leader, proved to be intelligent and adaptable. But the humans learned faster. Captain Yaon led a strike mission against a Krolex supply base. The attack was brutal and efficient. The humans showed no mercy to an enemy that showed none to civilians. How can you be so calm about this? Elder Mira asked Admiral Day after watching the battle reports. Elder Mira, I have been fighting wars for 30 years. I learned long ago that the only way to end a war quickly is to be so good at it that your enemy gives up. Every day we are gentle, more of your people die. But does it not affect you? All this death and violence? Admiral Day looked tired. It affects me greatly, but my feelings do not matter. What matters is stopping the enemy before they kill everyone in your galaxy. The Federation was beginning to understand that they had called upon beings who were very, very good at war. The humans did not enjoy violence, but they were willing to use it when nothing else would work. As the human fleet pushed deeper into Krolex territory, the peaceful species of the Federation watched and learned. Some were grateful. Others were frightened. All of them were alive because beings from a quarantined death world had heard their call for help and answered with battleships instead of mercy. The war was just beginning, and the humans intended to finish it. 6 months into the war, Admiral Park made a discovery that changed everything. His intelligence ship Shadowhunter had been tracking Krolex communications deep in enemy territory. The intercepted messages revealed the truth about the Krolex Empire. They were not the real threat. Admiral Day, Park reported over the quantum communication link. You need to see this intelligence data immediately. The holographic display showed star charts from beyond Federation space. System after system was marked in black. Dead worlds where nothing remained alive. The Krolex are running from something, Admiral Park continued. They call them the Devourers, mechanical beings that consume entire star systems for fuel. The Krolex attacks on Federation worlds were not conquest attempts. They were desperate grabs for territory before the real enemy arrives. Admiral Day studied the data with growing concern. How long do we have? Based on the Devourer expansion pattern, they will reach Federation space in approximately 8 months. The news was shared with the Federation Council in a closed session. The reaction was predictable: panic, denial, and desperate hope that somehow peaceful negotiation might still be possible. Perhaps if we sent a delegation to meet these Devourers, suggested Counselor Zara, a telepathic species known for their empathy, we could find common ground. Intelligence Officer Lee, who had worked closely with Admiral Park, shook his head. Counselor, the Devourers are not alive in any sense that you would understand. They are self-replicating machines with one purpose: consume matter and energy to create more of themselves. There is no negotiating with a force of nature. Meanwhile, the war with the Krolex continued, but now the human tactics became more aggressive. Every day wasted fighting the Krolex was one day closer to the arrival of an enemy that could destroy the entire galaxy. Commander Ryu led a strike on a Krolex breeding world. The target contained billions of unhatched Krolex eggs. The mission was necessary. Each egg would become a soldier in 6 months. But the Federation representatives were horrified by the implications. You are destroying their children, Elder Mira protested. We are preventing future soldiers from being born, Commander Ryu replied coldly. Those eggs will hatch into beings that want to kill every Federation citizen. Do you want me to let that happen? The moral weight of the decision crushed the peaceful Federation leaders. They understood the logic but could not accept the cost. Dr. Yuna, who had returned from Earth with additional intelligence data, tried to explain the human perspective. The Federation thinks in terms of individual lives. Humans think in terms of species survival. We will commit horrible acts to prevent even worse outcomes. The strain was beginning to show on both sides. Federation observers assigned to human ships reported increasing psychological trauma from witnessing human military operations. Captain Hay led a rescue mission to save Federation civilians from a Krolex death camp. The operation required fighting through fortified positions where the enemy used prisoners as human shields. We can save approximately 60% of the prisoners, Captain Hay reported to the Federation commanders. But we will have to accept that 40% will die in the crossfire. The Federation representatives were appalled. 60%? You would let nearly half of them die? The alternative is that 100% die when the Krolex execute them tomorrow. Which choice saves more lives? These impossible decisions were tearing apart the alliance between humans and the Federation. Some Federation species began to question whether the cure was worse than the disease. The breaking point came when Elder Kors, representing a group of Federation worlds, made a secret contact with War Master Vexen. The negotiation was simple. The Federation would help the Krolex eliminate the human fleet. In exchange, the Krolex would accept Federation worlds as vassals, rather than destroying them completely. It is the logical choice, Elder Kors explained to his supporters. The humans are too dangerous. Even if they save us from the Krolex, what happens when they decide we are a threat? Better to accept Krolex rule than human protection. The conspiracy was discovered by Admiral Day's intelligence network. The betrayal cut deep. Beings they were dying to protect had decided they preferred slavery to human salvation. Admiral, Captain Kwan reported. We have confirmed that 12 Federation worlds are secretly supporting the Krolex. They have provided intelligence about our fleet movements and defensive positions. Admiral Day felt very tired. Prepare the fleet for withdrawal, sir. If the Federation prefers to negotiate with beings who want to exterminate them, that is their choice. We will return to Earth and prepare our defenses for the Devourer arrival. The news of the human withdrawal caused panic throughout Federation space. The moderate leaders like Elder Mira and Ambassador Leah realized what they had lost. Admiral Day, please reconsider, Elder Mira begged over the communication link. Not all of us supported Elder Cores. Many of us still want your help. Elder Mira, your people cannot decide whether you want protection or peace. We cannot save beings who actively work against their own survival. The conversation was interrupted by priority alerts from long-range sensors. The Devourer Advance Fleet had arrived at the edge of Federation space, 4 months early. The mechanical ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Massive constructs that moved like living things but showed no energy signatures of biological life. They began systematically consuming the outer Federation worlds, converting matter into energy and raw materials. War Master Vexen, faced with the reality of his true enemy, sent a desperate message to the human fleet. Human Admiral, the Devourers have arrived. My people cannot fight them alone. The Federation cannot fight them at all. We need your help. Admiral Day looked at the message for a long time. The Krolex had killed billions of innocent beings. The Federation had betrayed the humans who died to protect them, but the Devourers would kill everyone. Signal the fleet, Admiral Day ordered. We return to Federation space. Sir, they betrayed us. Yes. But if we let everyone die because some of them made bad choices, then we become the monsters they feared we were. The human fleet turned around and headed back toward Federation space. They would fight the Devourers, save the Krolex, and protect the Federation, because that was what humans did. They protected those who could not protect themselves, even when those beings did not deserve it. The final battle was coming, and it would determine the fate of every living thing in the galaxy. The final battle began at the edge of Federation space, where 3 unlikely allies made their stand against extinction. Admiral Day commanded the combined Human Federation Krolex fleet from his flagship Unyielding. The alliance was fragile and built on desperation, but it was their only hope against the Devourer swarm. Fleet status report. Admiral Day ordered. Human forces 42 warships at full combat readiness, reported Captain Kwan. Federation vessels 130 ships configured for support and evacuation. Krolex forces 23 battlecruisers under temporary human command. War Master Vexen appeared on the communication screen. The proud Krolex leader looked broken. His empire was gone, consumed by machines that cared nothing for his people's warrior culture. Human Admiral, my remaining forces are at your disposal. We know we do not deserve your help after what we have done. War Master, we are not here to judge the past. We are here to ensure there is a future. The Devourer fleet was massive beyond comprehension. Thousands of mechanical ships, each one the size of a small moon, moved through space like a plague of metal locusts. Behind them, star systems went dark as entire worlds were consumed for raw materials. Analysis complete, reported Intelligence Officer Lee. The Devourers operate as a collective intelligence. Destroy the central command ship and the rest will be temporarily disabled. How temporarily? Admiral Day asked. Best estimate, 6 hours before they establish a new command structure. 6 hours to destroy thousands of ships. It was impossible. But humans specialized in impossible tasks. General Wu arrived from Earth with humanity's most powerful weapons. Planet-killer missiles that violated every treaty the Federation had ever written. The weapons were so destructive that even humans were reluctant to use them. Admiral, General Wu reported, I have brought 12 Genesis bombs. Each one can crack a planet in half. But using them will make us no better than the things we are fighting, Admiral Day finished. General, if we do not use them, there will be no one left to judge us for using them. The Federation representatives watched in horror as the human ships loaded weapons of mass destruction. Ambassador Leah spoke for many when she asked, how can you use such terrible things? Dr. Yuna, now serving as liaison between the humans and Federation, tried to explain. Ambassador, these weapons exist because humans understand that sometimes the choice is not between good and evil. Sometimes the choice is between terrible and extinction. The battle began when the Devourer fleet reached the Federation's most heavily populated system. The mechanical ships began consuming the outer planets immediately, converting matter into energy with terrifying efficiency. All ships attack formation, Admiral Day ordered. Target the command ship in the center of their formation. The combined fleet struck like a spear thrust at the heart of the enemy. Human warships led the charge, their weapons carving through devourer ships like fire through paper. The Krolex vessels followed, their crude but powerful weapons adding to the destruction. Federation ships provided support and rescued survivors from damaged vessels. But the devourers adapted quickly. Within minutes, they had analyzed human tactics and began modifying their defenses. Ships that had been easily destroyed became harder to kill. They are learning too fast, reported Captain Yan from her battlecruiser. We need to reach the command ship before they adapt completely. Admiral Day made the hardest decision of his career. General Wu, arm the Genesis bombs, clear a path to the command ship. Sir, using those weapons here will kill millions of our own people. General, not using them will kill billions. The planet-killer weapons launched toward the densest part of the Devourer fleet. The explosions were visible from systems away, stars being born and dying in seconds. Entire sections of the enemy formation simply ceased to exist. The path to the command ship was open, but it would not stay open long. All ships, maximum speed, Admiral Day ordered. This is our only chance. The final assault was a desperate race against time. Human, Krolex, and Federation ships flew together toward the massive command vessel at the center of the enemy fleet. Devourer ships closed in from all sides. Captain Su's ship was destroyed while protecting a Federation evacuation vessel. Commander Ryu died when his cruiser rammed a Devourer ship to save a Krolex battle group. One by one, the heroes of the war made their final sacrifices. Admiral Day's flagship, unyielding, broke through the final line of defense around the command ship. But the vessel was badly damaged, systems failing throughout. Admiral, Captain Kwan reported, we can destroy the command ship, but we will not survive the explosion. Admiral Day looked around his bridge at the crew that had served with him for years. Young men and women who had volunteered to protect beings they had never met. All hands, this is Admiral Day. It has been an honor serving with you. Prepare for ramming speed. Admiral, wait, came Elder Mira's voice over the communication system. There must be another way. Elder Mira, there is no other way. This is what humans do. We die so others can live. The unyielding accelerated toward the command ship. At the last moment, Admiral Day opened a channel to the entire fleet. All ships, this is Admiral Day. We came to your galaxy as strangers. You called us monsters and quarantined us because you feared our nature. But when you needed us, we answered. Not because you deserved it, but because protecting the innocent is what makes us human. Remember that when you rebuild your worlds. Remember that sometimes peace requires warriors to guard it. The unyielding struck the Devourer command ship and detonated every weapon in its arsenal simultaneously. The explosion destroyed both vessels and sent a shockwave through the enemy fleet. For 6 hours, the Devourer ships drifted helplessly in space. The combined fleet used that time to destroy as many as possible. When the mechanical ships began moving again, their numbers were too few to continue the campaign of consumption. The survivors retreated to the dark spaces between galaxies. The war was over. 1 year later, Dr. Yuna stood before a class of cadets at the new Federation War College on Earth. Her students were members of species that had once known no violence, now learning the harsh lessons of survival in a dangerous galaxy. Admiral Day and the others did not die for glory, she told her students. They died because they understood that some things are worth dying for. Peace is one of those things, but peace without the strength to defend it is just a prayer that your enemies will be kind. The quarantine around Earth was lifted, but humanity remained what they had always been, the guardians watching the dark, ensuring that those who chose peace had someone willing to make war. In the end, the Federation learned the most important lesson the galaxy could teach. Sometimes the monsters you fear are the only thing standing between you and the monsters you should fear.